record session. There we are, recording in progress. That's awesome. Welcome. I can see who are here. Pankaj, you are here. Joshi, welcome. It is good to have you back. This is probably your first career coaching over coffee session that you are attending. So we also had you live last time. So welcome on the call. I don't see anyone else here yet. We'll just wait a couple of minutes so everyone can jump on who wants to. And we have in the job search for $25 program, the elite programs, the 1881 Global Careers program, we have 2 live calls a month, group calls a month like this. One is career coaching over coffee, and one is the live Q&A session. Can you just also indicate that you can hear me, please? I'm just wanting to make sure because I'm in a different place this morning and I had some trouble with my mic settings. Pankaj, can you hear me? Can you also see
Yes,
me and see the screen? Is it all good?
good morning. Good morning.
Okay, good. Good morning. I can hear
Because
you. Awesome.
today I have to duty, cannot attend this meeting because I can. Is possible the Wednesday in the morning is possible
Say again.
because I have now duty. I cannot join this meeting, so you can. It's possible the Wednesday morning.
Yes. Yes, I record this, so I put it back in the group for you, and then you will be able to watch it there. So you don't have to be here live. That's okay. Okay, so you don't have to be. You can go
So
on duty. Don't worry. I will post it in the Facebook group, the recording, and then you can watch it and you ask me questions if you want to there. You can just post your questions and I will answer them. Okay, good. Have a great day.
I think this one is the that's why I'm confused. Today Monday I have the duty morning and 4 o'clock, so I have to go now to 1 hour.
I know,
Okay,
I know. Yeah, it's
sorry,
the
sorry.
time zones. It's very difficult for people around the world. That's why I
Before I
record
go,
these meetings, so don't worry.
before I go, I will listening this thing. So now when I go, I will leave him. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, take care. All right. Good. So it is one of these meetings are usually the meetings that we come to be able to help people understand the different things that they've got to do in landing or securing their international jobs. And if you've reached the level of being an influencer, that is the influencer strategy. Last time we talked a little bit about the influencer strategy or the attraction strategy. That's the level that you get to where you have a really big audience, and you can post content for that audience. And that is one of the places that you need to be able to be. Hey, Mike, I see Mike there too. Good morning. How are you doing? Welcome
Hi,
to the
good
call.
morning. All good.
Awesome. Mike started his job in New Zealand, and I hope it's all going well. Hey, it's all good? All going good?
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, can't
Awesome.
complain at all. No, love it
Awesome.
every second.
Perfect. Perfect. I'm really, really good, really happy to hear that. Thank you for that. Like I said, this is where we reach the influencer level. Mike, this will be right up your alley in terms of reaching a level of influence in LinkedIn, where you want to create content for your audience. So last time we talked about the influencer strategy, how to reach the influencer strategy, and this time we're going to talk about how to create content for that audience. Just a note here, I do apologize for the way that I sound. I've just come off a whole week of the flu, and the whole household, including the grandkids, the kids, and my partner, and all of us were just floored by the flu. So I'm still getting over that. I might cough a little bit on this call today, apologizing for it. Um, the influencer strategy is really the level that not everyone is likely to reach. That's okay. That's fine. Most of you guys will land your jobs and secure your opportunities abroad before you reach that level. But there are, especially some of my Elite Unlimited and one-on-one program members who have reached the level, who want to be able to produce this content for their audience in wanting to attain or reach the next level. So the next level is your career progression. The next level is getting a promotion. The next level is being an influencer, going consulting, doing your own business, whatever it is. For that, you are going to need content. Um, I personally think that I'm pretty good at doing content. I'm not the best, right? There are people who do it. I just take my hat off to people out there who do content so well. And I'm always trying to aspire to learn more, to be able to do better content. And that is something that you'll have to work on. So the content and the way that you need to do your content, if you can do it right from the start, then it makes things so much better. And the last couple of weeks, I have learned about the levels of content. And the levels of content are the way that you're doing your content, that you're putting into LinkedIn, that your audience sees, and that attracts those opportunities and those things to you. Okay. Mike, you raised your hand. Have you got a question, or is it just me missing something?
Yes, I do. So Zarélsie, something recently I read in a Harvard Business Review article, which was saying that be careful on when and how we use AI-generated content. And they did some research, and the study found that if the audience knows you well and you use AI-generated content, you come across as inauthentic. It comes across as a little bit distrustful, less credible. Whereas if you
not your voice,
not your voice. So maybe you have some thoughts on this aspect when it comes to LinkedIn. Have you tried using AI generated content? Pitfalls, the good parts, the bad parts, your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very valid question. The way I use AI, I do use AI for content. Absolutely. I mean, that's a tool. I love my little AI companion, right? ChatGPT is invaluable in my business. However, I do not let it write content for me because it just does not sound like me, right? Completely off. I can't read it. It's just off. I use it to get ideas on content. Okay, so if I'm stumped, like you get writer's block, like what do I say? What stuff do I write about? What are my audience's pain points? What are their problems? What are their challenges? What can I write about? That is where I now use content. When I initially started with AI, it was like, oh, this thing can write for me. I'm just going to ask it to write a blog post or an article on blah. And then I would just take that and put that in my LinkedIn. And I saw the decline in the way that people connected with that content because it was not authentically me. So the process that I now do my content, I'm saying me because I'm not telling everyone to do it this way, but this is how I do it. And I found that my audience resonates with it, is that I would ask for ideas or for topics or for, let's call it ideas. And it sometimes would come up with things and I'm thinking, oh, I didn't think about that, or I didn't see it that way. Maybe I should, produce content in this way. And then I would take that idea, I would go and write out a script in my own voice and I speak it. Good. I stand in front of the mirror sometimes putting my makeup on making a sandwich or whatever, and I speak. And it transcribes. And then I take that and I transcribe it into word for word, but just proper sentences. But then I go and make a video about it. And then I take that and I let ChatGPT or whatever other AI just write a post for me in a succinct way. So come up with a post with 500 characters or something. And then I would tweak it. So that's how I use AI, but I don't let it write for me. It is just not my voice. And I have tried to learn about how to train AI to use your voice, but I just can't get to that point. It's really, really difficult. Sometimes when I'm really impatient, I would let it write something for me, but I would always change it to try and sound authentic. But the longer pieces of content is always me recording something and then let AI doing a summary or doing a post from that script or that recording. But it's off if it does if you just use it to just create the content for you and post that. It is really off. It sounds mechanical, robotic. It doesn't work. And what I want to do today is just show you, Mike, I think you and I talked about this before. You can create anything you like, right? You can come up, and I've made that mistake. I still make that mistake. I'm saying mistake in little comments here because it's not really a mistake. It is the process you've got to go through to find what content works and what doesn't work for your audience. Okay. Number one priority, you must have the right audience. If you do not have an audience of more than 100 ideal people in your LinkedIn, you can write the best content on the planet and it would be worth bugger all, nothing, because nobody sees it. First of all. Second, the right people need to see it. And the right people are people that you have to go and curate, find, get into your audience. They don't come there by themselves. And then you've got to find out who are they, what are their problems and challenges, and then write content for them, and then go and test that content. That is the process. The minute that I just took to explain that, that is the process. I iterate that process daily, weekly, monthly, constantly, because people change. People's perceptions change, their challenges change, their problems change, the way that they consume content changes. The content that they want to know changes. You don't want to hear the same thing again and again and again. You get tired of it. So I need to change my message. The same thing, saying it in a different way. That makes sense. So I'm not a content queen. I don't know, I'm not the best at content, but I'm still learning. But I'm probably 5 steps ahead of someone here who wants to know how to do content. So today I want to show you a little bit of how to touch the place where you can produce the best content for your level. So make sure you have the audience first. And then if you want to create the content, what is it? What is valuable content? What is value? Because your content is just a tool to demonstrate value. It's not the value. Make sense? So you can't say, oh, I'm producing this content and this is my value. That's not it. Your content is just a tool to communicate your value. And that is, if you reach that point where you can communicate your value or transfer a little bit of your value through your content, then you're on the right track. To stay on the right track is always, that's the game. That is hard work. I have some one-on-one candidates who think they can just pump out this content. They have virtually no connections in their network. They don't have the right connections in their network, and they're pumping out this content and they're asking, well, why is nobody engaging with it, or why is nothing happening? Well, then you've got to think about, is it valuable? Do you have an audience? Do you have the right audience? And are you doing level 3 content? So there's 3 levels of content, and this is something I've learned in the last couple of weeks, but I'm going to try and explain this concept to you. And if you can get this right, or make the testing of it, or the impact, the process going through testing that shorter than, struggling with it, then I hope this is valuable for you. So what is value? Value is transformation. Okay, value is not stating the obvious. Value is not making something a little bit better. Value is helping someone to do something, or reach something, or obtain something that is transformative. That is value. So if you help someone, I take myself as an example, right? I'm not a CV writer because I don't see my value in writing a better CV. Okay, because I know that what I am helping people with, that is secure an overseas position, cannot be done with a better CV. So it's a mismatch to the value. Can you see the value here? So my value, and I'm proud to say that, my value is helping people secure a position internationally. That is much more than a CV. So I'm taking myself as a example here. So what is your value? What transformation do you bring about for your ideal client, your employer, your customer, wherever you are serving? All of us are serving. Whether we are employed, whether we have a business, whether we are in volunteering, we are serving. We are here to do something. We have a purpose. It is expanding the universe or whatever, but it is a tiny purpose in that. But that value you have, if you transform someone's life, someone's day, someone's business, someone's whatever it is you're doing, that is your value. It is not always a cash a dollar value, if I can say it that way. So what is the price you're putting on something that is transformative? But that is your value. It is really hard to explain in dollar terms. It's not, oh, I have 10,000 likes and therefore I'm valuable. That's not transformative. Okay, I helped someone, Mike, in your situation, you're a security consultant in IT. If you help someone who's built a business over 30 years, protected from a scammer or a fraudster who can take that business hostage, what is the dollar value of that? That is incredible. So yes, you're going to put a dollar value on your what you get paid for it, but that's not really your value. But if you can get to the point of creating content that is connected to that transformation that you bring about in people's lives, that is valuable. And that is valuable content. So in a sense of trying to communicate that, that is where you save someone time, you solve a problem. The bigger the problem you solve, the more valuable you are. It's just it, isn't it? If you can shift someone's perspective, that is where I'm trying to be. I'm trying to shift perspectives from you've got to have a better CV to using a complete different strategy to secure an international position. That's the value I'm trying to create. For someone else, it might be completely different. For a CV writer, their value is creating a completely different CV for someone who doesn't at all know how to create a CV. Okay, so it is still valuable. So it is, again, thinking about what are the problems, challenges, the transformation that your client or your customer need, and what is the value that you bring, and your content is communicating that value. Does that trinity make sense? Okay, so if you want to define value, that is how you define value. So now we're going to how to create content around this value. And level 1, level 2, level 3, that's just a content ladder. Okay, so I'm going to explain the different levels of content. Now, if you want to go after this session, maybe go into LinkedIn, because I'm talking here LinkedIn content, wherever platforms you're using. You know, most people that I work with are on LinkedIn. So they're going to be able to post content on LinkedIn, but you might be posting content on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or any of these places, YouTube. So go there, go look at the content that comes through your newsfeed in terms of these levels, and then see how you can judge them. Being judgmental is not always the good thing, but just look at them through a different lens and see why some content is more valuable to you than other content, and then it will hit you that that's level 3 content, and that's transformative content. Okay, so a lot of this I'm going to explain in my sense, because it's really difficult for me to, know in depth the content of someone else unless I've delved into it and being able to analyze it and then tell them what is level 1, level 2, and level 3. I've just done this with someone actually the other day, and it was really meaningful to them. But I'm trying to explain this from my point of view. Level 1 content is where you state the status quo, the obvious, you like, okay, this is interesting, but not new. Okay. Or it's irrelevant information. Now, if you scroll through LinkedIn, 90% is irrelevant information. It is not just irrelevant because it doesn't connect to you, but it is also irrelevant in terms of generally. It is like, okay, this is news and it's interesting, but it doesn't transform me. It doesn't stop the scroll. It doesn't hit me in the middle of my forehead. It doesn't make me stop and think and be able to use that to transform or do something. Make sense? So scroll through LinkedIn, you will see jokes. 10 years ago, we had these jokes going around Facebook, and it's not the same anymore, but you'll see quotes and jokes and news and ads and things that is information, but it's not transformative. It's not even relevant information. Okay? If you see that in your LinkedIn profile, remember, you cannot control what other people do, but you can control what you can consume. And that is where you should stop it And you can. You literally hit the X button on that content on LinkedIn, or you disconnect that person from your network because you do not need to see their irrelevant content coming to you. People have shorter and shorter and shorter attention spans. There's a reason for it. That is why we have AI. AI has taken over the role of accumulating, processing, analyzing information to give us an outcome. We don't have to do that anymore. That's what AI is there. That's why we've been given AI. There's too much information in the world for our brains to be able to assimilate it now. That's why we don't need to consume and to produce more information. It's enough. AI can take over that role. We need to use the outcome of that to make the world a better place. That is a level up from what AI can do. That borders on the infinite, that borders on not instinct, that borders on something much higher. Okay, so if you see content that is irrelevant in front of you, you are in control of your consumption of it, but don't produce it because it has the same effect on someone else. If it has that effect on you, it has the same effect on someone else. Okay, so call those people from your LinkedIn profile if you need to, but also don't go producing those things. I have so many good candidates with massive audiences in their destination country in LinkedIn. They either produce no content or irrelevant content, and then they're wondering why they're not getting anywhere. So level 1 content is out, over. Who cares? Nobody cares. So the worrying thing these days, Mike, to come back to what you said about AI, is that people now use AI to produce that irrelevant content and put it into LinkedIn. And in the latest LinkedIn work on the algorithm, we are going to see LinkedIn get rid of it. There are other platforms who's already getting rid of it. Okay, so yes, Mike, go ahead. You raised your hand.
Just a thought came to mind. It reminds me of cold calling. You know those spammers who call you in the middle of the night saying, "Hey, why don't you just buy this TV, or this deal is great. I think you need this." And it's and to summarize, when we all agree, it's very annoying. It's very annoying, and that the person on the other side of a call, even though they don't necessarily intend to, they come across as very cheap. Whereas if somebody calls me up and they say, "Hey, Mike, wow, I've been tracking you, following you for so many years, and I see you have a need for this. Let's explore some options. I really want to help you. I want to support you." That comes across as more valuable and more respectful too. So this came to mind, like in level 1, like the people who push all that noise into our channels, they come across as really cheap. And do we want to come across as cheap?
Yeah. And like you say, it's noise, right? And we need less noise. And today is a noisy world, and we need less of it. Interestingly enough, I'm following someone who talks about anxiety, how to overcome anxiety, and what we can do about anxiety today in the world. And I totally agree with his point of view, is that anxiety is just caused by too much information. We can't process it. Our brains are not designed to process so much information, and that's what's causing anxiety. I'm in a different place this morning. I'm in my kids' home, and they've just taken the grandkids to school, and they're teenagers, and they're just glued to their phones everywhere they go. And I'm like, you consuming irrelevant information the whole time, and your little brain is trying to process that. And don't tell me you're not anxious, because it's like it's just on the whole time. That person also says that we're not supposed to know more than about 150 people and what they're doing and their lives in a little village. Beyond that, it's too much for our brain to process. So we're looking at content, LinkedIn, news, overseas news, TV, all these things all day long, and it's just masses of information, irrelevant information coming into our brain, into our mind, into our context, And that creates anxiety. It's noise. So we are in control of what we consume. We need to cut it off. But also, don't think you as a content producer wanting to influence your network and LinkedIn. This is what you're trying to do here. Don't overwhelm it with irrelevant noise. Level 1 content out. Okay, let's move to level 2. Level 2 content is a step up on the content ladder. It is there to make things better. It is content that will make something better in a slight way for someone, right? So for me, I'm going to post a video about how to do a better CV, what to put on your CV, what not to include on your CV. Here is a template of a CV. That is making the obvious a little better. Now, there are 1 or 2 or 3% of people who would find that in my audience helpful, 1, 2 or 3%, right? 97% of people is like, meh. I know I don't need a CV. I need something completely different that will change my way of doing things to be able to gain what I want to gain, obtain what I want to attain, reach a level I want to reach. So here, you need to know your audience. You can't produce content without knowing what your audience want in the first place. So here you need to really understand them. And this is the level where you need to start doing research about what they want. This is the level where you're going to start producing content and find that some things work and some don't, because your audience will resonate with it or not. Now, this is the mistake I made. I produced a lot of content about CVs and how to do LinkedIn and eligibility and how to find a job without, blah, blah. And I had all this noise coming back to me, but from people who were not my ideal candidates. And I'm like, damn it, why is this? And I always have to look, you have to look at yourself. It's not out there, it's you. I am producing the wrong content. It's not them. The right person will react to the right content, but I'm producing the wrong content and attracting not the right candidate or client. Makes sense? So it always comes back to you. So yes, that kind of content is helpful to a certain extent, but is it transformative? It's helpful, but not transformative. Okay, so it's a level up from non-relevant noise, and it is helpful, but it's not transformative. This is where most people who do produce content and have been through the content ringer a little bit and have learned how to produce content, do it, but they can't really see the difference between transformative and helpful. And when you start writing content really well, you will be at level 2. It's okay. It's fine. You will be there. That's where you need to start testing. You can't skip it. Okay, but don't go through 10 years of pain like I did and trying to talk to people and then thinking there's something wrong with them and there was something wrong with your content and reaching a certain individual or a certain person you want to consume that content. This is also the level where you realize that you don't need to speak to everyone, that you're not speaking to everyone, that you do not need everyone to say, oh, that was nice and that was awesome and that was helpful. Because not everyone is your client, employer. You guys who want to try and land jobs abroad, who will reach a level of the influencer level strategy, who do produce content, are going to speak to very specific employers and hiring managers within those employers. That is who you're talking to. That is who your content need to resonate with. Not everyone is your client, is your employer. Same with me, same with everyone else producing content. So this is where you need to do your research exceptionally well. Who is that person you're talking to? What do they want to hear? What do they want to see? Remember, their attention span is about 6 seconds long. The content you're producing need to really hit them and be transformative for them. How that's different. That is really hard. Okay. That brings us to level 3 content. That is the transformative content. This is where you produce content from your client's point of view. You think like them. You think their problems. You think their challenges. You stand in their shoes. You solve their problems from their point of view. You stand alongside them. You sit alongside them and looking at their obstacle, at their problem, at their challenge, and you're finding solutions together. That is the point of view that you need to be at. That is a state that you need to be in before you start producing content. That is exceptionally important. It is a state you need to be in before you create content. That state is being one with your ideal candidate, ideal client, ideal employer, ideal customer, and solve their problem from their point of view. Okay? When I'm going to give you an example here. Excuse me, a sip of water will do for a second. When I was in police, we did conflict resolution courses, which is like the basic 101 things when you're a police officer. So we looked at solving problems. And the trainer there had us sit at opposite sides of the table with a ball in the middle. And some of you might have gone through this. And that ball was painted black on the one side and white on the other side. Okay? And it was one of these big, big round balls that you use for exercises. So you could not see the other person and they couldn't see you. You could just see the ball in front of you. And the trainer said to us, this ball in the middle of the table is a problem that you've both got to solve. So you over here tell me what color this problem is. And I said white. And then they asked the other person, what color is this problem? And that person said black. And then the trainer would take that ball away and we looked at each other and we would you convince the other person that problem is black, or you convince the other person that problem is white. Right from the start, we disagreed because we could not see the same side of the problem. So once we get on the same side of the table, we immediately took away that first obstacle of seeing the color of the problem. It was so bloody simple. But this is what I'm trying to explain here. You need to be in a state where you at the side of your employer, at the side of your customer, at the side of your client, to be able to see a problem from their perspective before you can produce transformative content. Okay? Now, this is way down the track of producing content here. This is why it's so difficult to produce the right content. If you're thinking you're going to pump out 10 articles on LinkedIn and post it, have you done this exercise of being on your employer's side and solving their problems? Do you even know who your bloody employer is? Most people don't even know who their employers are. Who is your ideal employer? Literally, where are the 100 employers you targeting in your overseas country, or where you want to go and land that new role as a top candidate? Do you know they are? Do you know what your ideal employer is, but what are their challenges? What are their obstacles? What are they thinking when they go to bed and when they get up in the morning? What problems are the big balls in front of them? How are you going to solve that problem for them if you don't know how they're looking at it? So a heck of a lot of research is required and interaction with your ideal employer. Interaction. Have you talked to them? Have you been on their website? Have you been on their LinkedIn? Have you spoken to people inside? Have you had conversations with them? Do you know what makes them tick? If you get to that point, that state, and then produce content for them, you're going to hit the mark all the time. Okay? Then content does become easier, but because you will write 10 articles, 10 videos, 10 pieces of content, and 5 or 6 of them will hit the mark. Not all 10, never will. 5 or 6 of them will. But if you go down levels, you're looking at 0 to 1 or 2 out of 10. But if you go up this ladder and you're standing from the point of view of your ideal employer, write content for them that addresses their problems, their issues, their view of their world, then you're going to hit the mark with your content. It becomes easier then because it is a shorter way to their hearts and minds. Okay, so that is the place where where I got to is not trying to tell people to do more. More is send more CVs to more job ads. Man, I cannot tell you if I go into my LinkedIn, it's all I see over LinkedIn. Because remember, the algorithm works in terms of my audience, bringing me people who's looking for jobs, right? This is what I did every day. But all I see is like, I've applied for 100 jobs and someone else saying, oh, no, you've got to apply for 200. Then someone else saying, no, it's 600 now. No, 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 you've got to do 1,000. So that person is now thinking, I've got to do more. Now they're going to AI. Let AI spit out 1,000 CVs with different things in it and firing that off to jobs online. It's literally what's happening online these days. And the walls of the ATS is just going up to be able to deal with that influx of applications, and it's getting harder. So I'm not saying do more. I'm saying do something completely different. Move away from that ATS, move away from that wall, do something completely different. That is transformative. That's what I'm trying to achieve. I'm not saying I'm getting it right, but that's what I'm trying to achieve, and that's what you should be doing. Look at your content from the point of view from your employer. And that hiring manager who's going to be your boss and the problems that he or she needs to solve in your future employer. And if you want to produce content at an influencer level in LinkedIn, that is where you need to come from. And that is where your content need to start. Okay? So you need to sit next to that person virtually and literally see the world from their perspective and produce that content. Does it make sense? Okay? So to summarize this, level one content is obvious, it's generic, it's news, it's quotes, it's reshares, it's low, there's low engagement. It's like people go, yeah, scroll, the doom scrolling. It just, yeah, it happens. Practical improvement happens at level 2. The how-tos, the templates, to make this thing that already exists a little better. Okay? That will get some traction, but it's medium. Okay? By the way, level 1, you'd see a lot of opinions or complaints. It sounds like opinions. Someone complains about, oh, I can't find a job, and everyone would add their opinion, and there'd be 30,000 reshares of it. Why do people engage with it? Because they feel like the same. They feel like that. That's why they engage with it. But it's not transformative. It doesn't help them. Okay? It doesn't solve their problem. So don't be fooled by content. Let me show you. I'm just going to open up my LinkedIn here. Okay? I'm just going to take a chance and show you. And it is not transformative in terms of, it doesn't help them do anything better, but it soothes them in terms of, oh yeah, it is so nice to see that other people are also struggling, right? Okay, so you'll see a lot of that stuff in LinkedIn if you scroll through it from my point of view, because you get a lot of that. Okay, it's everywhere in the world though. Here we go. And right up front, right? There's 100 more of this. I can just keep scrolling and it's just be that, like, I want a job, but I can't find a job, and I've applied 1,000 times. This is level 1. This is level 1. It's a complaint that look at the engagement of this, right? There's a huge amount of engagement, okay, but it's not helpful. But people connect to it because it makes them feel soothed. It's not transformative. Okay, so don't be fooled. So level 3 transformative content are mind shifts, are case studies. Case studies is a huge way of showing someone what is possible. I've just joined a $6,000 coaching program. Holy heck. Because someone said, this worked for me. I'm at that next level where I need help to do whatever I need to do. I'm open about this. All of us need a coach. All of us need someone, a mentor, someone to teach us, someone who's 10 steps ahead. We need to pay that person, period. But the only thing that made me say yes to this was someone else like me who said this was instrumental in getting me to X. That was a case study. Done. I'm sold, right? I use you guys who have done this as case studies for other people in the same way. Not because it helps me get business. It does. That's fine. I need to be paid for my work because I sit here 15 hours a day, 4 days of the week, right? But that person who sees this and go, man, this can be transformative for me, that is valuable for them. We're talking about valuable content here. So yes, your case studies, your testimonials is instrumental in helping someone else. That is your transformative content. First off, just your life, just sharing what you've achieved is transformative for someone else. So make your life a case study, period. It's fine. Share it. Okay? So unique solutions, unique mind shift. So don't struggle over here, go over there. That's a mind shift. That is transformative. Okay. So I've spoken to someone else the other day. Rogesh, if you're watching this, you're welcome. Excuse me. She has used ways in producing content. She's an accountant. Tools that she says, this is how I use it to solve problems for my accounting clients, right? Her accounting clients is virtually the same client as a future employer would have. So she's solving a problem over here for her client, showing for a future employer how she can do it for them. That's level 3 content, right? A future employer sees this and go, oh, why didn't we think about this? This is end of the tax year. I bought a new vehicle through the last year, and I need to know how to get this vehicle into zero, right? And I'm searching here on YouTube how I need to put this thing into zero. And I'm getting a YouTube video on zero that someone has put step by step how to do this. For me, that's valuable content, right? It is helping me. So that borders between level 2 and level 3, but it is valuable content at that point, okay? So if you use your unique skills in bringing that level 2 content up to level 3 and showing that person how you can make something that not just better, but completely transform the way that they do things, that is level 3. And that's what Rogesh did in her content. Okay. I have worked with candidates who had star profile examples that I said to them, this is mind-blowing stuff. This is valuable stuff. This is wow, what we call the wow idea. The idea that will go someone sit up and take notice. Just in a star profile, that is valuable content. Now, if you have ideas like that, write them out in star format. If you don't know, if you're watching this, you don't know what star format is. This is in the training program. If you go to the training portal, there are training videos there about the star profiles. Write it out in star format. Then ask ChatGPT to write a post for you if you're struggling with the words. And then modify that to sound like you and post it in LinkedIn. That is your transformative content. Make it into an article, make it into a post in LinkedIn, make it into a video, make it into how to, make it into an infographic, make it into a quote. There you've got 6 pieces of content. Okay, so this is how you can bring your work from a star example into content that you can put into LinkedIn. But can you see where this comes from? From your ideal employer, that hiring manager. What does he think about all the time? What are their problems? What are their challenges? How do they want to make their world better, transform their world right from that angle and that state? And then it will be easier for you to get to level 3 content. Okay? So the framework of all of this is you must have that audience. Otherwise, how does my grandson say? They've heard this at school, right? He's 11 years old. If a tree falls in the forest, does anyone hear it? He's obviously heard it in school and he brought it home. No, nobody knows, right? So you're shouting in the dark, in the wilderness, nobody knows. If you do not have the audience of ideal 100 to 500 hiring managers inside your ideal employees in your destination country, that is a curated audience. Then go and research. What do they think about? What do they talk about? What do they say? You literally go on their LinkedIn profile. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you, okay? So in my network, I would go into my connections, right? I would go on someone's profile. You're going to do this with your ideal employer, with your ideal hiring manager, right? And look at what they're talking about. Now, if this person has an active profile, then that's the people who you need to get into your profile. They need to have an active profile. This person doesn't have an active profile, they've not posted, right? I can't write content for them. So you need to know who your people are. Do they have active profiles? Are they talking in LinkedIn? Are they engaging? Are they interacting? Are they posting? Right? So here I can see that this is important to her because she's posted about it. This is in Spanish, but I can go and translate it if I wanted to. Okay? So this is how you know that person is relevant or non-relevant. Can you see where I'm going with this? First steps. You need to have an active person. You need to go and see, research what they're thinking about, what they're talking about, what they're interacting with. Okay? Chris Jordan is a senior consultant. What is he talking about? He's congratulating people. Who is he congratulating? Who is important to him? Is he just commenting for likes, or is he commenting for reach, or is he actually posting things? Can you see where I'm going already? I'm going to be here 10 or 15 minutes researching this person and what they're doing before I can even think about writing content. Can you now see how hard it is to write the right content? It's not like, oh, I'm going to write something about this and post it on LinkedIn. That's not it. That's not it. You need to do this work before you can write transformative content. Okay? So he's posting a whole lot of things. Is that important to him? I need to analyze what he's doing to be able to know what is his problems. I need to join groups that he maybe is in to be able to see what he talks about. Then I can start writing content. Here down the bottom of his profile, you'd be able to see the groups that he's in. You'll be able to see the companies that he follows. You'll be able to see a lot of things, right? He's in these groups. Okay, so that obviously is important to him. Can you see where you need to go to be able to start writing the content? Okay, it's not just writing the stuff that you think is important. It's the stuff that's important to your ideal employer's hiring manager who is listening to your stuff coming through his feed in LinkedIn. Okay, so you need to write down who they are, what their problems and issues are, what their obstacles are, what their challenges are. If you have 100 ideal hiring managers in your audience, and you can do this research once a week, 15, 20 minutes of this research, it's going to form patterns. It's going to form patterns. Mike, I'm not sure if you're still there, but if you're listening to this, you're going to start picking up trends, terminologies, languages, issues, problems, obstacles that they all talk about, that all these 100 to 500 people talk about. Okay? That's where your content is going to come from. But that's only those people, not everyone else. You're not there for everyone. You're just there for those people. You're there to create content for the people who are listening to your message, your ideal clients, your ideal hiring managers, your ideal customers, whoever you are. If you want another job or another role in another country or secure a position or an opportunity elsewhere, you need to know who you're talking to here if you want to be an influencer and produce content, and then talk about their problems. So then you write that piece of content, right? Takes a while to research it, to come up with it, to write that content. You're going to post it. So then, and remember what I said, go and write it out in the STAR framework. The STAR framework drags out the value of it. Story, task, action, result. Once you've written it out that way, then it drags the information from you that actually it needs to be a valuable piece of content. That's why the star is there. Now, let ChatGPT create a post for you. That's perfectly fine. Just make sure it's your voice. Rewrite it to be your voice, like Mike said in the beginning of this. Okay? Post it. 1 week later, you come back and you look at who looked at my content, who engaged with this content. Is there something that it tells me? Does this person saying, thank you, it's informative? Or do they actually put a meaningful comment on it? The people who put meaningful comments on it, or who sent you a message, or who DM you, or who can connect you in another way, that's the people who you want in your profile. Now you go back to your audience. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, if I can find my mice. I'm sorry if my voice sounds weird here because I'm going to lose my voice in a minute. So now I'm going to go back to my content in my profile. I'm going to look at who has engaged with which content resonated, right? On my post impressions, going to go there. This is high level stuff, people. This is if you want to write content, this is what you've got to do. If you want to be in an influencer strategy, this is the stuff you've got to do. You can't just write stuff and think it's all good. It doesn't work like that. I've got 10 years of experience doing this and I'm still failing every single day. Maybe 5 out of every 10 pieces of content resonate with some audience, and I'm going to refine that. It is bloody hard work. Okay. So here, top performing posts, right? So which posts are performing? That's not just it. Why is it performing? Who is engaging with it? Who is in my audience? And I need to go back and put more of those people in my audience. I build my audience and I build my content. I make it better from here. Why are they engaging? Is it transforming? Right? So I can now see which of this content here hit a mark. Now I need to go and analyze that mark and figure out, is that who is actually my ideal candidates or ideal clients or whatever? You've got to do the same. Because remember, there's a lot of bots out there commenting on content to increase the reach of certain LinkedIn profiles. There's automated bots out there doing this. So I'm not going to even go there. It's nuts. Michael knows all about this in security. Okay. So you've got to really analyze. If you want to be an influencer, you want to write content, this is the work that you've got to do just to write content. Okay. So it is not just writing the content. It is researching, having the right audience, researching what they want, analyzing their issues, standing in their shoes, writing content from their perspective, analyzing the content, re-looking at your audience, coming back full circle, doing it again and again. Okay, I'm not going to go into details of how I analyze this, but I'm not going to tell you suck eggs, but you know what I'm talking about here. The more and more you do this, the more your content will resonate with the right people, the more you will attract them to you. Attract. This is what we're doing as influencers, attracting. I don't run ads. I'm attracting people. I open up my LinkedIn profile and these 50 messages, of which probably 3 is meaningful. That's the numbers. That's the numbers, right? 3%, 100 messages, 3% of people will actually be meaningful engagers, will be meaningful enough for me to go forward with them. It is life. It is the way it is. I've got to deal with it. But the better I do my content, I might slightly grow that number. Otherwise, it's like 1 out of 500, and that's really difficult. Okay, so this is the formula here. I have it on the screen now. I'll post this document for you in the Facebook group as well, so you can actually go and read it or download it, and you can see these text on here on the screen and use it. Okay, so once you've done your content, ask yourself, would someone bookmark this? Would they save this? Would they message me? That ideal employer, that hiring manager that you're trying to reach, is this transformative from their point of view? Okay. I've got some examples in here, but see who engage, check their profile. Are they your ideal candidate or employer or hiring manager or whoever you are? Is this a person who you want in your network or not? If it is, analyze their profile. Can I write content to solve their problem? I promise you, once you get this right, there were times that I got this like humming along and I would just be overwhelmed with candidates and clients, right? And it is getting more and more difficult because of level 1 content. Okay? It's getting more and more difficult because people are overwhelmed with noise. You've got to stand out above the noise. Okay? So there are things that you can use here, like writing it in the style format. You can use ChatGPT to rewrite it for you in a blog post, a how-to, an informational infographic, whatever your thing is that you do, you can use that. You can do videos, you can do walkthroughs, you can do how-tos, whatever. You'll find what resonates with your audience. Mike, I'm not sure if you're still there yet, but maybe showing how a safety or security tool blocks something or does something, that kind of thing. Okay, that kind of thing is real for someone like me. I've just been floored by a couple of scammers. Okay, it's been, I think this is why I'm sick, because the last 3 weeks has just been an absolute struggle in getting these things taken down. They've stolen my video, not stolen, they've copied my videos. They've put it on dodgy websites. They're scamming people into paying money on things that is not truly me. It's not much I can do about it, but if I get to know or get to know about them, I'm trying to get them taken down. I'm struggling with these domain registrars to get these things taken down. But I mean, if you've got an answer to that thing, make a video about it and share it, please. That's valuable content for me. There are 1,010 people like me struggling with the same thing. Okay, so can you see where I'm coming from? You need to stand in my shoes to be able to see what I'm struggling with to produce the content that will resonate with me, that will be value for me. That will be level 3 transformative content. Okay, so your challenge is go and look through your ideal hiring managers in your profile. If you have that audience, if you've built that audience, go and look at them. Go and write down the obstacles. Go and write down the challenges. Go and write down what they're talking about and produce one post, one thing that talks about their challenges. Okay? Rogesh said the other day that she wrote a post about the skills that you needed in accounting in the shipping industry. That's very niche. Because she saw a post or a question from a hiring manager saying that they're finding it hard to find people with those skills. Imagine if she put that piece of content in front of them. She doesn't just display it, she's an expert in it. Can you see the level 3 there? Okay, so the audience need to be connected to your level 3 content. Right, I've got 4 minutes left here. Here is a worksheet. You can download this thing and then you can use it as content, right? My audience is top 5 problems. So you need to research 20, 30, 50 of hiring managers and your ideal employers. What are they talking about? What are they posting about? Where are they? What are they? Where are they hanging out in? What is interesting to them? What are they looking for? If you can hit that point, oh, all hell will break loose. Okay? What is your solution to their problem or their challenge? It doesn't have to be massive. Just touch that solution lightly, right? Just position yourself as I know something about this and maybe you can solve it with this. Very simple. Don't overdo it. Okay? Write a star example of that thing that you have that talks to their solution, that solves their problem, that makes their thing better, that makes it, shifts their mind, that is a new idea, whatever it is. Write a star example, even if it's level 2, because you can lift level 2 to level 3. Okay? So then go and create if you're finding it hard to take the star example and creating a post from it, just ask ChatGPT. Here is the star example. Now create a post for me. Use my terminology, use my language, use my voice. If you actually put that into ChatGPT, it will try and use your voice if you give it enough information. But then also go and rewrite it and make it sound like you and look like you. You're unique. Okay? And then go and do that. So here is a little bit of a tracker template if you want to go ahead and use it over time, because this is going to take a while. I can promise you that. It took me 10 years to get to content at this level that I'm doing it and attracting people. And I'm not the expert at it. There's people who are doing it better. That's why I'm enrolled in these courses and these programs and this coaching, so someone can actually help me be better. But if this helps you, that's all that I'm trying to achieve here. Okay? And if you're watching this and you're not in one of our programs, one of our containers, like the Job Search for $25 program, the Elite Career Mentor one-on-one programs, hit me up, okay? There's two ways in which I can help you. The Job Search for $25, that's the link there. Or if you want to work with me one-on-one and helping you secure that international opportunity and attracting opportunities instead of chasing it. That is what I do. I don't help you to make a better CV. I'm trying to help people to secure that position. Then there is a link there to work with me. Awesome. Mike, there's a chat somewhere. There's a message in the chat. Good. Mike says, thanks for another excellent session today. You're welcome. You're very, very welcome. I hope it was helpful. I know, I'm just going to scroll all the way up here and unshare this. I know that there are people who are between that level of, they've done the direct approach strategy, which is getting into the talent pools of your employers. Then they've done the networking and connections and having conversations and landed their role in that position, because that's where 90% of my candidates land their roles, is applying the direct approaches or starting with the network and engagement strategy. But they don't stop there. They want that next level. They want the next thing. They want the career progression. They want the promotion. They want to go into consulting. They want to start their own business. That is where you need to figure out the problems you're going to solve for your audience, whoever your audience is, right? Your audience might be hiring managers in your career position in another company, and your promotion in your same company. It might be that, but it also might be your clients in a business. And I think if you're there, then being able to create this level 3 content and touching their problems and pain points and coming from there with your, just clothing your profile and the solutions that will be the how-tos and the solutions for your ideal candidates or clients or employers or hiring managers. If you can get to that point, you'll never have to beg for an opportunity or apply for jobs. You're always attracted. That is who an influencer is. Awesome. Thank you for attending this session, Mike. And Joshi, I know that Pankaj had to go because he's got to go to work. Everyone else watching this, you know where to find me if you want more of this or you want to work with me one-on-one and being able to reach this level. Until next time, take care.